If you've ever felt that learning English is hard or boring, this story will prove the opposite. Here, you'll dive into a full adventure, and without even trying, you'll pick up useful expressions, sentence patterns, and a natural rhythm of the English language. That's the power of immersive listening. So before we begin, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for new daily stories, and turn on the bell so you never miss a moment of adventure. Now relax and enjoy this exciting journey. There was a morning when the city felt heavier than usual. Buildings stood tall like silent giants. People moved fast without looking around, and the air carried a quiet kind of pressure. But Noah, walking with his hands in his jacket pockets and a backpack loosely hanging from one shoulder, felt something shift deep inside him. It was the kind of feeling you didn't expect, but once it hit you, you couldn't ignore it. He was just an ordinary guy, someone who lived in a small apartment on the third floor of a building that looked exactly like every other one on the block. He worked at a bookstore near the center of the city. His days looked almost identical. Wake up, brush teeth, drink warm tea, walk the same streets, pass the same faces. But something had been bothering him lately. It was like his life had become too quiet. Not peaceful quiet, empty quiet. That morning, as he stood waiting at the crosswalk, watching strangers avoid each other's eyes, he thought, what if I tried something different? What if, just for one day, I helped every single person I saw? The idea sounded small at first. Maybe a smile. Maybe picking up something someone dropped. Maybe just listening. He had no plan, no checklist. He only had the thought, and that was enough to change everything. He took his first step off the sidewalk and immediately saw an old woman struggling to carry two heavy bags. Without hesitation, he walked up, gently offered a hand, and carried one of the bags with her until they reached her bus stop. She nodded with tired eyes and rested on the bench. Noah walked away, feeling something he hadn't felt in a long time, light. From there, things began to unfold in strange and beautiful ways. At the next corner, a man stood with a confused look, turning a folded paper map in all directions. Noah approached, pointed out the street names, and walked with the man to the correct stop. They didn't talk much, but the man placed a hand on Noah's shoulder before stepping onto the bus. It felt warm, like gratitude made physical. He kept walking, not knowing where to go exactly, but trusting the idea more with each step. A woman was chasing a rolling apple that had escaped from her grocery bag. Noah caught it before it reached the gutter and handed it back. No words were exchanged, only a smile. A genuine one. By the time the sky shifted to a lighter blue, Noah had fixed a broken shoelace for a boy sitting alone, offered his umbrella to a teenager caught in the rain, and given directions to two tourists who looked entirely lost. None of it felt like work. Each moment gave back more than it took. He began to notice details he usually missed. The smell of bakeries in the alleyways, the soft sound of birds between buildings, the way people's faces relaxed when they felt seen. He walked past a busker playing guitar near the old library. The man had a sign that said, "Trying to get home." Noah didn't have much, but he left the only money he had in his pocket, a single note. It wasn't the amount that mattered. It was the decision to give. The city started looking different. Or maybe it was Noah who had changed. He noticed how people looked tired not just in body, but in spirit. They were carrying invisible weights. Some looked frustrated, some scared, some just plain numb. But even small things, opening a door, moving aside on the sidewalk, waiting for someone slower, seemed to shake them out of that fog, even if only for a second. Later that day, he reached the busy market street. There, in the middle of the noise and traffic, a young girl stood crying beside a bicycle with a twisted chain. Noah knelt down, fixed it using a keychain tool he carried for no real reason, and sent her on her way. Her tiny wave as she rode off stayed with him like a photograph burned into memory. Not long after, he noticed a man in a suit sitting on the steps of an office building, head in hands. Without saying anything, Noah sat beside him. They didn't talk. They didn't need to. After a while, the man stood up, nodded once, and walked back inside. Sometimes, presence is the greatest gift. He took a long route back toward his part of the city. By now, the sun was lower, the light golden, the air carrying a cool softness. He stopped by a cafe and held the door for every person entering. One woman, in a hurry, looked back in surprise, then smiled wide like it had been a long time since someone did something just to be kind. Inside, he watched people interact. He saw how little gestures made big differences. One person moved their chair to give space. Another offered the last sugar packet. Noah didn't need to do much now. He was just watching, learning, appreciating. He passed a man arguing on the phone in a small alley. His voice was sharp, hands shaking. Noah didn't interrupt, but he waited until the man ended the call. He offered his water bottle and said nothing. The man took it and sat down on the curb. They sat for a while. The city kept moving around them. When Noah finally reached his street, it was quiet. The sky had turned to a soft purple, and lights and windows began to glow. He looked up at his own window and paused. Usually, he'd go straight up, take off his shoes, and fall onto his couch. But this time, he didn't want the day to end just yet. He kept walking, passing his building, turning left, then right, letting the city guide him. Somewhere near the river, he saw a dog caught between two parked cars, its leash tangled. He helped untangle it and tied it safely to a post. A man came running moments later, out of breath. He smiled, mouthed a thank you, and hugged the dog. It was past dinner time now. Noah's stomach was empty, his legs a little tired, but his heart full in a way he hadn't known was possible. He had spent a full day giving, and yet he felt like the one who had received the most. At a small corner bench near an old bookstore, he sat down. Across from him, a boy was feeding birds, tossing little pieces of bread. Noah watched the boy's calm face and thought, this world needs more of this, more noticing, more helping, more kindness for no reason at all. He reached into his backpack, pulled out a small notebook, and wrote one line. Today I helped everyone I saw, and somehow I helped myself too. He didn't write more. He didn't need to. From that day on, things didn't go back to the way they were. Every day didn't become a perfect story, but something inside Noah had changed. He no longer walked past people. He walked with them, near them, aware of them. He listened more, judged less, and trusted that small actions could shift entire worlds. That's what happened when he decided, for no special reason, to help everyone he saw. And now, you've just listened to an entire story in English. Without even realizing it, you picked up vocabulary, grammar, and rhythm, all while having a good time. That's how your brain learns best, through emotion, surprise, and curiosity. We do this every day. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell for daily English stories. just like this one. And now, tell us in the comments, what's the smallest act of kindness that's ever changed your day?